drills. I consider drills to be a pretty critical part of the training process, where we're actually teaching people how to do the things. In my training methodology, I'm just really not a big fan of the, pain management training methodology, where you just send them out on the field and you just let them figure it out. I think it's a really horrible way to teach people how to do things. When we do drills of any type, there's a purpose and a function to these drills. And like I said, I think it's just an incredibly valuable tool for the training process and being able to teach people how to do things. One of the things about the purpose of drills is that ideally we want the drill to become increasingly more like live combat. You know what? Can I have you guys come out here just a little bit more and get you more in the shade? Get me a little closer here. Give me that! Give me that! He's trying to kill me. It's Australia. Everything's sorry about that. We felt a little bit spread out there. So yeah, as we're doing drills, we want the drill to, as we do it more frequently and get used to what these are, we want them to become increasingly more and more like live combat. So by the time we get into combat, it's like we're already kind of used to this because we've already gone through the motions and how these things are supposed to work, right? So as far as running drills and like even creating drills for yourself, and again, when we talk about these universal principles of combat that I covered at the tavern the other night, there's 5 things on each side. I talked about them just in the last class, right? There are these 10 things, 5 offensively, 5 defensively, that are always happening in a fight at any given time. And we can isolate the failures of our fight to one of these or multiple of these 10 things. And as we kind of drill that down, we isolate which one of those are. We can then create drills. To address each of those deficiencies. Okay? The 2-second drill that we just got done doing, one of the deficiencies I saw with England yesterday is frequency of blows, right? That I'm looking for those bigger targets, right? So this is a drill that specifically addresses that, and that's why I demanded for presence at my class, because they're like, I've got a thing for you. But that's, that's the thing. I see that, I identify the deficiencies. What's that? I told you, it's Australia. Everything's trying to kill me.
I don't think it's a biting bug, but it bugs them.
All the Australians are
Who's that? Oh, I'm a towel there. Recognize it?
No, it's still looking.
Get it? Where is it?
It's not a biting bug.
Yes. Actually, it doesn't there.
This is not an important part of the class, but we'll film it anyway.
That's still not fun in a good.
Has he turned it off even?
Okay, so yeah, you can. Like I said, I have several drills that I teach frequently. The 2-second drill is probably the most useful drill that I have. There are, we've got footwork drills. We've got some of the ones that my training mentor had. There's one that said strike as you block and block as you strike drills. You can, like I said, you can find any one of those 10 deficiencies, and you can create a drill for yourself to address those deficiencies, right? But as you're creating a drill, or as you're executing a drill, like I can, if you have a write-up on one of the drills that I do and the purpose of it, so first we have to understand what the purpose of a particular drill is, okay? The purpose of the 2-second drill is primarily a recovery drill, okay? There are other things that you can do as part of that, because again, the versatility of that particular drill, and while it is primarily a recovery drill and we're trying to get the hand back to the shoulder to make those better decisions, half of that drill is also the the frequency of blows for those newer fighters. It is addressing two things at both ends of the spectrum, but it is primarily a recovery drill. So you have to know what the drill is and the purpose of that drill. Okay? So when you understand what the drill is, how we facilitate that drill, we have to understand that in any partnered drill, meaning that there are two of you, there is in a partner drill you have basically two roles in the drill. There's the trainee and the trainer. Okay? Being the trainer in the drill is simply you are facilitating the function and the purpose of the drill. Being the trainer in the drill has nothing to do with who the better fighter is. These are just roles within a drill. Okay? So, the purpose in the drill, again, we'll go back to that 2-second drill because most of you were there for that one. The purpose of the 2-second drill, it is a recovery drill. So what we'll do is we'll get the two people together and we'll explain to them what it is. So the purpose of the drill is a recovery drill. In the drill, the role of the trainee will be that the trainee will throw 15 shots at a frequency of at least once every 2 seconds, but not more than twice in 1 second. The role of the trainer is to facilitate them making decisions about the recovery, which means we need to present targets to the trainee so that they can actually make those decisions. You know, as I was saying, it's like if you just stand there and just go block, 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 you're not giving them an opportunity to do that. So again, we just in each of those roles, we just have to understand there are these two roles. We have to understand what those functions are. And as you're teaching this to somebody, you're trying to teach them how to do a particular drill. You have to understand what the function is and what the roles are. Does it make sense? Yep. So as you're doing these drills, ideally what's going to happen is you are going to switch roles. Like I try to have all of you, switch roles in there so that everybody gets a chance to be the trainee and everybody gets a chance to be the trainer. Okay. Yeah, that's the essence of what those roles are and how to do that. Again, some of the things we ran into as you're starting a particular drill, depending on what you're trying to facilitate. Most of these drills are going to be a static drill to start with. So the trainee will find their ideal range to be able to have shots on target. But there's not going to be a bunch of moving around. And in most drills that we're doing, we're trying to learn a particular skill. So if we're looking at something that involves shot mechanics like the 2-second drill, you don't want to be throwing a bunch of fakes, right? That is not the purpose of this drill, right? Just throw the basic mechanic out there, right? You can get the fakes later. You can practice that other stuff later. The thing I was saying, with Stefan, he came off the one and went right to the other. Again, for the purpose of that drill, we need to consider that a failure. Not that it's not good technique, just that's not what we're trying to do here. The one thing about doing drills is critical to understand. Nobody wins the drill. There's not a winner, right? The only winner is somebody that gets better using the tools that we have to make them a better fighter. Right? And a lot of times what happens is as you get into a drill, even advanced fighters, you will get, and like I said, Stefan was right over here and he just, came off the one and went right to the other. And I have to stop Duke Stefan and tell him you failed. Because that's the function of drills. And drills are applicable to anybody, and we just need to understand, we need to go through the drills correctly. And there's plenty of these drills that you get into and you're like, I am just a complete mess. All of this. And that's fine. That again is the purpose of the drill. Is so that we can slow things down, we can go through the process, we can let you be a mess here doing drills so that you are less of a mess in combat. Make sense? Right. So I've got a couple of drills that I'd like to show to kind of demonstrate how this works. I think I'll do the strike each block. Give me a second. Suddenly my shield's gone. Oh, sorry. Totally grab your sword and wood. Actually, Wolfgar, grab your sword and wood. All right. So we'll give you an example of one of the drills that we do to give you an idea about how the structure of drills works and how we teach somebody how to do a drill. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. This is really do. This is. Sorry, this is a pair of this partner drill. I'm trying to figure out which one it is. Block as you strike. Okay. This is a drill we're going to do. It's called block as you strike. Okay. The idea behind this drill and the purpose of this drill is to get you used to the idea that offense and defense happen at the same time. Okay. We don't want to do offense, defense, you know, on and off, on and off. One thing you certainly do not want to do is my turn, your turn. My turn, your turn. Right? I throw, you block, you throw, I block. Offense and defense have to be happening at the same time. Okay? And by the way, the idea of my turn, your turn, it's never their turn. They don't get a turn. Right? So, there's a pair of drills that we do for this. One is block as you strike, and the other is strike as you block. So we're going to do the first one, which is block as you strike. So I'm going to, as the trainer, right? I am going to be, responding. So as the trainee, he's doing the block as you strike, which means he's going to initiate the drill. So he's going to throw a shot out. As he's throwing a shot, I'm going to throw a shot in return. Back up just a little bit. Sorry, now I'm trying to chase the shape. Okay, so he's going to initiate the drill, right? That's kind of why I do the block as you strike first, because it puts the onus on the trainee to start it, right? So he's going to throw the first shot. So for the purpose of this drill, the important part of what we're doing here is that he catches the block on what I'm throwing in return. I'm not really concerned about this, like the strike on his part is not the success. The success is the block that he's getting in return. When you throw something out there, your opponent's throwing something back at you, you need to have the awareness to be able to catch what's coming. Okay? So we're going to run through about 10 shots, right? And again, we're unarmored, so you can throw speed without throwing power. Just try not to rip my head off. Again, we're not as concerned, like I said, I'm not worried about, like, the whole point of you throwing first is that you're just initiating the drill, right? I don't care if you hit your shot or not. What I want to make sure is that you're catching the block that I'm throwing in return. Does that make sense? So again, being a static drill, we're going to basically get to, good offensive range where we can both do something. And again, we're unarmored, so we always have to make sure that we're creating an environment where it is safe for you to fail. If something happens, maybe I make a little bit of contact, I'm not going to give them a concussion. All right? So as we start the drill, like I said, we're going to go through about maybe 10 shots, and you're going to throw the first shot, and I'm going to give you something to respond to. Okay? Ready? Nope. See that? Wolfie's a pretty good fighter, and he just got juked. That's the whole point of the drill, though. When we slew this whole thing down, it's like, oh, that was terrible. Yeah, let's make it terrible here so we don't make it terrible out there.
Why'd you point at me?
Good. Okay. See how that works? Yes. Well, I would say for the purpose of this drill, we're going to stick to shield blocks, because the whole point of this is he's doing delivery and then he's doing defense as well. So he's not going to be, his offensive tool is not going to be available for defense, right? And again, when we're looking at the drill, we need to specify what we're trying to accomplish here, and understanding that, yeah, in live combat, sure, he can block with his stick, no problem. Like, that's a choice you can make. But for the purpose of the drill and what we're trying to accomplish, if he were to block with just his sword, that would be a failure on his part. Does that make sense? And we have to look at it like that, like, I did that wrong, let's start over. Does that make sense? And again, for the purpose of the drill. Not that that's bad technique, not that you can't do that, perfectly good, but we're trying to learn a specific thing. Okay? So the next one, we'll go into the next one. So the next one is, so we did block as you strike. You threw at me, and I gave you something to respond to. Okay? Now we're going to go the other way around. Now it is going to be strike as you block, which means I'm going to throw something at you, and you are then going to find the correct target and throw at the target. So now, again, the purpose of the drill, okay? The purpose of this is not necessarily the block. It is you getting the correct target, right? So now it's the delivery that is important, not the defense that is important. Does that make sense? And you can see how these are paired drills. And again, we have to understand the function and the purpose of the drill so that we can explain to the trainee how this works. Does that make sense? So this is going to be strike as you block, which means I am going to be initiating the shot. I'm not as concerned about you getting the block. Like, ideally, yeah, I want to get the block and I want to get killed, right? That'd be great. But for the purpose of this drill, it is more important for you to find the correct target. Now, that may also mean, as the trainer, I'm going to provide targets, just like we did in the 2-second drill. I'm going to provide him opportunities and see if maybe he gets some of that processing speed down and makes better decisions about those things, right? So I'm going to initiate by throwing a shot. Again, ideally, if you can get the block, that'd be great. But mostly, I want you to find the right target. Right? Okay. Make sure, again, static drill. I want to make sure we're roughly in range. Okay. Ready? Good. 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 All right. Keep going. Good. That's fine. No, that's fine. Good. 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 Any questions so far? You see how that's working out there? And again, well, sorry, you can see when we take that time outside of combat, where we have all of the adrenaline and the cortisol and all those chemicals running through our brain telling us that everything is wrong, right? When we can take that time to identify what's going on, the more and more we do this, the more and more it gets closer to live combat and feels like it's real combat, right? Does it make sense so far? Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. And again, there's countless drills that, I mean, I have several drills that I do, but you can create your own drill for any one of those deficiencies. And again, the 2-second drill I created for for somebody that asked me to watch his crown fighting, and was like, this is a problem, and created that drill for that, and that has become the most versatile universal drill that I have. Okay.
Are most of your drills partnered, or do you have solo drills as well?
So this is for partnered drills.
Yep.
I do have I got footwork drills that I do that are on a Appel that are single solitary drills. But yeah, this is specific to partner drills where you have the trainee and the trainer. There are definitely lots of things that you can do on your own, and actually, the next class I'm doing here kind of covers one of those things. It's on that class is going to be on probing range, and I've got it, and that one is not as much a drill as it is a concept, but it is still a thing you can exercise. It is a thing that you do need a partner for, but it's not a back and forth trainer-trainee role. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've got one other one that I want to run through. Do we have two people who can be fully armored right now? Okay, one. Sully, you available? Yep. Okay.
Talk among yourself.
Still recording.
Sorry? Like we got him. Don't think we're allowed to, are we? Sorry, doesn't this make you say 1990s?
You kind of. When did you stop?
2010? I'm behind the
Just
times.
I just did the 2-second drill a little while ago.
Oh, I was trying to get back up here,
One of
but
my first crowns.
I was enjoying just chilling. This was supposed to be a rest day, and I came in
in
the spot in the tournament earlier.
Yeah, I know. Octa's familiar with 2-second drill.
the first cigarette
Old
was
Russ
with
for the
the Edmund
wicked.
stop with the reel.
Yeah.
Like,
2-second drills off.
you know, good swing at the same time. Like January.
It looks like you got
So we just,
yeah, just in time for the 30-second drill.
30-second field drill.
Let me move my shit so we can make some room.
You got a piece of your channel.
This is this is Ian's. So I might go with this.
Had a really good first half of the
Yeah, I don't really
season. But I'll get away. It's too much oil at once.
Would you like us to give that more space?
you know what? Right now we're changing the game.
Every time I looked up, I mean, there was more people coming on. They were just, the other folks were just shuffling, right? And then I got late. I got about 5 minutes.
I'm trying to get you in the seat a little
Came
bit.
back and I fought like 2 fights, and then I got gas. I think about 2 or 3, and then I hit my knee first. That's definitely my wind is good. Muscles feel good.
I have to move this Ian's plug in to this.
You know, right? And it makes it feels good, right? But if you hit, where you like put your arm in it, and it just cycles ice water through and cools your blood down. Normally on the Nikos, I thought they like this thing was like turned. I would have ice bags. Just drop them into the water.
Okay, so this drill that we're going to do is one that is required to be fully armored. Let's go step over here for a second. So this drill is required to be fully armored. This is what I call the 30-second kill drill. Okay. So what this is, this comes into the concept of the moment you become concerned about what your opponent is going to do to you in a fight, you're done. Fight's over, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to kind of eliminate that concern and let you just execute your fight. So think about it for a second. If you had a 30-second head start on your opponent where you could just unload, like, what are you going to do with that time? You're going to pursue your opponent. You're going to try to kill them with impunity. And you're not going to be worried about what they're doing to you. Okay? And ideally, that's where we all want to be anyway, right? Octa, how concerned are you about me?
I'm concerned. So we start fighting.
Yeah. and then you're gonna do your thing, and you're gonna apply your killing methodology, and you're gonna come after me, right?
If I don't, you'll kill me.
Right. I need to be aware of what's going on and what my opponent is doing. But the moment I become concerned about what Octo's going to do to me, oh, he always likes to do this. He always likes to do this. Okay, I'm going to get worried about that, and then he's going to end up hitting me somewhere else because I'm more open, because I'm worried about this other thing, right? Let's eliminate that concern, right? And just give you an opportunity to test out this drill where you have a 30-second head start, okay? So, with this, you have, so, your name? Nathan. Okay. So, Nathan, you were going to be the trainee, and Sully, you're going to be the trainer. Sorry. So, for the trainee, okay, you have 30 seconds to kill your opponent. And you have a total of 15 shots with which to do that. Okay? So the idea here is now, now you can probably see, so we just did the 2-second drill. You see 15 shots, 30 seconds, about 2 seconds, right? So, for the purpose of this drill, you are not restricted to that frequency of blows. In the 2-second drill, it was at least once every 2 seconds, not more than twice a shot. You are not restricted to that. This is full speed, full contact, your fight. Okay? But you have a total of 15 shots with which to throw. Which means you can't just get in there and just like throw a bazillion shots and hope something's going to get through. You actually have to make decisions about what you're doing. To try to pursue your opponent and try to take them out. And again, you're doing it so that you can pursue them without consuming. However, there is the trainer role. As the trainer, Erlen has 2 shots available to keep you honest. Now, usually when I'm doing this drill, if I end up throwing one of those shots, it's because you did something so stupid that it triggered a response and I just popped you in the face, right? So, it's just 2 shots to keep you honest, to keep you from just being sloppy and just throwing a bunch of garbage. Make sense? So, you will have 30 seconds and 15 shots, and if you don't get it, that's fine, we'll just do it again, right? But again, this is fire the shot, make better decisions. Again, you're not restricted to that frequency of blows, but it's within that timeline. Now, I will say with this particular drill, one of the things we see a lot of is people get this urgency to finish the fight faster, right? Understand that in our sport, 30 seconds is an eternity. That is a long, long time. You have much more time than you think you do, so don't feel like you have to finish it within that time. Right? Because what ends up happening there, you're trying to finish it faster, which means your mechanics are garbage because you feel this sense of urgency. And we're trying to remove that sense of urgency. We're trying to remove that emotional expenditure and that adrenaline. We're just trying to make it smooth, calculated, boom, 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 boom. Does that make sense? Right. So you're still doing the recovery? No. So this is, again, full speed, full contact, right? You're not limited to, so this is an extension of the 2-second rule, but you're not limited to those parameters. Make sense? So yeah, this is just whatever your fight is, right? And Tully, Erlen, you're going to try to stay alive. You're going to chop it, right? So again, as a partner drill, we get somebody that has an opportunity to exercise the defense a little bit, right? Usually when we're doing this drill together, the trainee needs to keep track of the number of blows, and the trainer keeps track of the time. The time starts when the trainee executes their first shot, right? So there's a bunch of dancing around, whatever. But once you throw that first blow, you are on the clock, right? Makes sense? So, Yeah, you're going to call the fight just like a fight, right? If it's arm, leg, whatever, I mean, ideally you're looking for a kill, but if you actually would take his leg, he goes down, and yeah. I mean, this is, again, we're trying to make it as close to real combat as we possibly can. So yeah, it's just like regular fight, full contact, all the regular stuff. Ready? I'm going to try to keep track of time. Can somebody keep track of Nathan's blow count? Okay? Again, in the drill, when you're working this at practice, the trainee needs to keep track of the number of shots, but since we have people to watch, I'm going to kind of time it out. So, all right, at your leisure. Good. Well, that's not right. That's supposed to kill the shot. But again, the whole point of this is, if I just have this time and I know that I don't have to be worried about what he's going to do, what do you do with that, right? And you just do it, right? Let's do it again. Early. Yep. There you go.
6 blows.
6 seconds. Yeah, that's the thing, Nathan. 6 blows, 6 seconds. Did it feel like you were trying to throw fast? 6 blows, 6 seconds. Like, and that's the thing. We're trying to remove that urgency. We're trying to remove that need and that panic and that emotional expenditure. So let's have you guys do this one more time, and then Erlen gets to smack the How many shots? 12 seconds. Weird. 12 shots, 12 seconds. And again, you don't feel like you have to rush through it, right? And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for this just, steady. And again, when we can remove that urgency and that need, and also, again, the concern, right? So, tell your turn. We're going to go through 3 just like you did. So now, Tully is the trainee. You are the trainer. So you get 2 shots. If he sticks something out there, keep him honest. Keep track of Erlen's. You keep track of the blows. I'll keep track of the time. At your leisure. Again, time starts when you throw the first blow.
Good.
How many shots? 4 shots, about 3 seconds. Okay. Again, 3 seconds, 30 seconds is an eternity, right? So you didn't feel like you had to finish it faster. Just pursue your opponent without concern. And that's where we're at. All right, a couple more times. Cool, you okay? How many shots? 5 shots, 4 seconds. All right, one more time.
Yes.
10 shots, 10 seconds. And again, you don't feel rushed. You don't feel like you have to get it done faster. And there it is. Right? Yeah, that's, well, again, like he was just saying, having just finished the 2-second drill and encouraging recovery, now I can fire, recover. And again, you're not limited, in this drill, you're not limited to those same parameters, but it is an extension of that. If you do the 2-second drill, then you can roll right into this, and you have that in your mindset. You need to complete the recovery. And like, so after doing the 2-second drill, do you feel like you were able to see targets better?
I think that doing the receiver drill gave me some of that as well.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As the trainer, with him attacking you, there's all of a sudden things that you can see because you're not concerned about what you have to do to him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a way in which all of these drills can have kind of secondary functions or, secondary benefits. Does that make sense? So there you go. We have some puck cups here. So, like I said, that's a couple of my favorite drills. That 30-second kill drill is definitely one that, for people that are having a hard time kind of closing fights, or again, maybe you become concerned about what I'm going to do to you, like you're just done. Like you're out of the fight because I mean I'm already in your head and I haven't even done anything. Right? I can get anything on that.
I think the biggest thing that I would point out is I thought Nathan was still being aggressively postured.
Okay, sure.
So in that drill, I would take the stance more of I'm going to surf Tully and I'm going to pull way back into comfortable defense.
And again, the trainer versus training roles, we're trying to facilitate a certain thing, and the purpose that we're trying to make is we're trying to make it so the trainer has an opportunity to pursue the fight and go after it. So whatever we need to do to help them, be successful in that drill and provide that function, right? So I mean that's the basics of this class, like how to run drills. And again, you can create a drill for yourself for any of the universal principles of combat. Anytime you can isolate a deficiency, you can create a drill for yourself for that. And of course, there are tons of drills available. I just ran through 3 or 4 of these that I do on a regular basis. You create your own, or you can use somebody else's. But if you take that time, you can begin your practice with a 2-second drill and then a 30-second kill drill, and then you're all warmed up, and then you just get right into fighting. Make sense? That's the basis of this class. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Right on. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace.
Yes. I got one more coming up here in 10 minutes or so. That'll be
next
a
one?
fairly short one, but I'll be here.
How you doing, Sean? You good?